Okay, so participating in meetings, we participate in meetings daily basis. So we have daily stand-up meetings, weekly team meeting, all hands meeting, defect triage meeting, IPT meetings. So there's so many types of meetings. But for you guys to understand this, I'm not sure, like, you have to memorize it, you have to understand it. This is very crucial. This is your job. These are the things you're going to be doing at work. So STLC again, guys. STLC is software testing lifecycle. Within that lifecycle, there is a requirement analysis happens, which is the very beginning, first step basically, and then test plan creation, test case creation, requirement traceability matrix creation happens here. Then we create system test environment, we execute the test, we identify and log the defects, we track the defects, create test analysis report, and participate meetings throughout, right? So let's break it down a little bit. How do we analyze the requirement? Anyone wants to tell me how do we analyze the requirement? We talked about it before. If a requirement given to you, how would you analyze and understand the requirement? For example, this is a requirement. This is a requirement, right? And it is a requirement. How would you analyze this requirement? Levels and values for identification. This is a requirement. How do you analyze and understand this one? This should be simple, guys. Shouldn't take that long.
Oh, can I share?
Please.
Like, can I like prioritize from the requirement that what should I do right now?
No, no, or like, so understanding the requirement, how do you understand? By reading. How do you analyze the requirement? By reading and understanding. It's nothing but reading. Go through the requirement, understand the requirement. It's nothing more than that. Okay, I'm trying to see if I have a requirement in place. SDLC. STLC is under STLC, I think. In the industry, requirements were like this back in the days. I mean, still some requirements are in Word format, but right now, people are in Agile, breaking it down into, okay, this is a real requirement. Okay, let me just show you a requirement. This is a real requirement for this application, Orange HRM, my info model. A requirement will have the cover page. This is a cover page. Within the cover page, the application name and information will be there. There's going to be a version number. Um, what is the version, guys? Version is nothing but changes to this document. So when the first time the document is created, they're going to be name it as version 1 or 1.0, and that's it, send it out. But if there are changes done to this one, then they're going to change the version number to, let's say, version 1.1. If there's a minor changes, they're going to make changes to the right. If there's a major changes, they're going to change this guy right here. So if a minor changes from 1.0, they're going to change it to 1.1, right? And if there is a major changes, then they're going to say, okay, this is requirement 2.0. So I hope you guys know what is minor and major. We'll talk about it a little bit more once we get there. Then there's going to be like prepared by, there should be a name of the business analyst here, not the URL. Table of contents, this is going to be a typical page in the requirement. Purpose of the document, they will define it. You don't have to remember this, just understand, and that should be fine. Just understand like how a requirement look like. Project overview, they're going to talk about the project overview here. Screenshots, you're going to see a lot of screenshots. Model, see more screenshots here. This is just part of the requirement basically is talking about um, like details page, like what they're expecting from this detail page. This is nothing but a requirement, right? They're talking about what they want under this page. This is another requirement. This format was used in waterfall all the time. This format was used in agile most of the time, but in some right now, as you can see how they broke down user story. So this would be in agile, this would be one ticket, one story point with this screenshot and these details, right? And next one, this is going to be another one with this screenshot and these details. So that's why in agile they don't give you the whole document. They could give you this document and attach it against the epic. There they could give you this one and attach it against this epic, right? You know how you see this epic would be the entire document, and the story point would be like each small requirement, right? So let's say in here they could attach under this epic this big document, but here like if you look at this epic, nothing is written here, but ideally they should go and attach the bigger document. But here they didn't, which is fine because they broke it down inside this epic. All of this story point has everything there. I don't want to make no changes right now. Okay, let me know if I'm confusing. So it continues. Next requirement is here. They're talking about what they want from this system. They have given you screenshot. It continues here. Then they have another requirement here with the details. One more here. Are you able to segregate user stories now? Oh, Epic versus user stories. Rajubhai,
Yes.
this is clear, right? This
Yeah.
this was your confusion yesterday, right? When you reach
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about this, please? With maybe second voice would be helpful. I know Agile is
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy.
I'll try to explain it from a different angle or different input, and sometimes you need a different input to understand it fully.
Yeah.
So when we talk about an epic and user stories, let's just say, is a small part, and all of those little bits of small parts make the whole part, which is the epic. So let's say $1, 10 single dollars makes one $10 bill. So if you were to compare an epic to dollar bills, I would say we have 10 single dollars, which are the user stories. Each user story is $1, and when you get 10 of them, you get one epic, which is a $10 bill. I hope that's easy to understand. uh, we are just breaking up that $10 bill into smaller tasks, which is $1. Does anybody has question on that? If you do, please ask.
So Epic is big requirement, and in the Epic there is a smaller version of the requirements.
Epic is not a big requirement, I would say. It is a big part. Just to keep it together, we need to put it in an epic. Is inside those epics we have all of the requirements. You can say it's a big segregated module which keeps all of the requirements.
It's not completely wrong, Rajubai, if he says that Epic is a bigger requirement. I think
Okay.
makes sense because let's say one big functionality is a requirement which is Epic, and then you're breaking it down from that functionality. You're making it smaller and smaller.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, we can say it like that too, I guess. Thank you, brother Halim.
No problem. I just want to know.
No, no, it's good to go, ask questions and talk about it. That way, we all can get a better understanding, and that's what we want. We want different ideas, different points of view to help everybody get this understood.
Is it like Rajubai is a whole pie and other is this chunk of pie?
Yeah, exactly. You could say it like that. You could say it just like that.
But stick to the industry standard, what Alim Bhai said, right? Epic is the bigger requirement, and story point are the smaller ones within that epic.
Mhm.
So that application that we had, Zuho, right, or anything. If you look at this requirement application, once you go inside, right, this is the landing page, right? So Rajubai is going to create an epic called landing page after logging in. After logging it, so within that epic, he's going to have all this user story. Every logo you are seeing here, every icon you're seeing here is an individual user story. So this is a perfect example. You have the epic, which is the landing page. How do you get here? You have to log in to get into the landing page after logging in, right? And that's your epic. And within that, you have everything here, everything here. These are your story point. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Rajbhai. So going back into our STLC phase. In STLC, we're talking about the requirement. And what do you do when you have a requirement in place? You have to understand, analyze, and understand the requirement. How do you do that? You read through it, you understand it, you take notes, you ask questions. That's how you do it. And I was showing you an example of a requirement, a standard requirement. So it continues. It continues, like as you can see within that requirement, there are so many sub requirements. And they have attached screenshots, they have attached the details, what exactly they want from each sub requirements. Um, and from there, you're going to be, doing your testing based off this one only. Membership. This is what the application should look like. And they're talking about like what happens when you perform the click and different buttons. And this is sign of documents. So this is at the end, sign of documents, like who created this document in which date, and who's signing off. Project manager would be signing off. So this is a requirement. This is a typical requirement. Um, any questions on the requirement?
I have a question. It's silly, I know, but I want to know this.
Please.
If I get a requirement paper, I read, and some of things I am not understanding. So, to whom I ask? To developer or to business analyst?
Business analyst. Business analyst.
Okay.
You can ideally should ask business analyst, but if you think a developer has better understanding, you can ask him, hey, I have some confusion with this one. Do you understand this? If he says yes, you can ask him. But ideally, business analyst who's responsible to clarify your questions on the documents.
Thank you. Thank you. I just.
So here, like, we wrote a few lines about analysis of the requirement. Testing analysis or studies the requirement from the testing point of view to identify the requirement, if it's testable, if anything is missing or not. Don't think they wrote a requirement and don't assume it's complete. Don't assume it's perfect. You as a tester, your job is to find something wrong within that application or the requirement. So you going to look at it from testing point of view. This is what we are saying, testing point of view. you're testing the requirement itself. You're thinking, you're reading through this. Does it make sense? What she wrote, is it testable? Does it make sense or not? This is what you need to figure out at first. And once you do that, um, then this thing would be, I had a few other lines somewhere. Oh, and let's see if it's, give me a second, please. Okay, let's go up, I think. I think at the very beginning we talked about requirement a little bit. What is software testing? What is requirement? Right here. These two things are very important, guys. How do you analyze requirement? By reading and understanding. Every requirement must be unique, precise or clear, testable, consistent, complete, not ambiguous, and bounded. So when you're reading through a requirement, please understand these things. Make sure the requirement is unique. They cannot just say, um, uh, my application should have a login functionality. That's not unique, that's not clear, that's not testable, that's not complete, it's not bounded, right? So when they say, let's say they want to have a login functionality within that application, they have to define what is the functionality of the login, what is the username characteristic should be, what is the length of it, what is the supported alphabet for that. If they don't define it, how do you test it? Let's say somebody's gave you a job to create a login functionality and username and password, and if they don't define it, how do you test it? Please tell me, like, how would you test it? A username could have n numbers of value. If they don't define, okay, this should be 6 to 10 digit character, how do you test it? You cannot possibly test it. You can enter thousands characters and you still would be testing it without knowing where it ends, right? So things like that, like, you have to, when you talk about requirement, just these lines are so important, these lines are so important. Understand this. I'm going to copy and paste it over there. Okay, so any questions on the requirement, guys? The requirement document I showed you, that's standard. You don't need to read through it, just you saw it, you understood, that's sufficient. You know, this is how a requirement looks like, that's sufficient, you don't need to worry about it. But your worry point should be, can I read through each sub requirement within this requirement? Can I understand it? Can I make sense out of it? That's what you need to do. And when you don't understand something, you have to create questions. You have to create questions. You have to come up with questions. You can just simply write questions and send it to developers. Let me see if I have a, okay, here you go. So this is an example, like, we were practicing it one day. So these are the questions we came up with from one of the requirement. So you can simply write an Excel sheet where you just put the numbers of the requirement, like, the serial number of the requirement, and this would be the actual requirement number. Notice here within this requirement, each sub requirement has a number. All right, this is a project overview. This is where the requirement starts. 3.1, my info module. So if you have a questions from this section, you would be writing this requirement number here. That this was a different requirement. So we had like system requirement number 3, and we asked questions, please describe this functionality and how it works. So it wasn't clear, so we wrote this one. And then next one, system requirement number 5, B and C. Within 5 there was like a multiple requirement. So this was the question. It seems that a type of cars and car classes are same. Correct me if I'm wrong. Simple question. Any question you may have, you write it down, you create an Excel sheet, send it to them. This is where you write your name, and you have to keep a section for developers to respond to your question. You can just add, yeah, BA respond. This is where they would be providing their clarification. Is this clear, guys, how to write questions, queries from the requirement? If it's not clear, let me know. I can talk about it more, but it should be simple. You see, each requirement has a number. You can simply read through this, see if it makes sense. Does everything make sense? If not, you can just simply write a question and send it to the business analyst. We'll be doing that once we get into doing a project. We're gonna do a project with you guys, and we'll be doing performing each and everything from here. From here, we're gonna be performing everything. But for now, I need everybody to understand this part. They understand this is something you have to know in your sleep. This is your job. Nobody's gonna do your job. That's you. You have to do your job. So please understand this. Please read through this. Please do whatever you can to memorize this. I don't know if we should continue on the test plan or anything else, or should we end it here? I'm not too sure. Please give me your feedback. Ajay,
Yes, brother.
uh,
I was waiting for the members' feedback. What they want to do. Do they want to study for another 45 minutes or go to the next step? What do you guys want to do? Do you have questions?
because this is so important, guys. I cannot stress it enough. Everybody's so quiet.
Very quiet day.
I think we should take a week to process all this, and then we'll move on next week.
A week is very long, brother.
No,
This,
I mean to class as well.
yeah, yeah. You know, we should all do our best, do our part in understanding these topics, and you know, we should all practice. But let's just not leave it aside for the last minute and ask questions at the last minute. The group is open for any questions anytime. You know, when you're studying, if you have a question, just type it in the group chat, you know.
Okay, so STLC, guys. So what STLC, for you to understand this is important. For you to read through it is important. For you to memorize it is important. But for next week's homework, I would still go back to Agile. I know most of you still do not have proper understanding of Agile. Please do redo Agile, understand it. Next week, nothing written. We're going to talk about Agile. Everybody would have. Can we do next week 9 o'clock instead of 9:30, just for 1 week? Is it possible, guys? 9 o'clock. I think Maghrib finishes before
Yes,
that.
I'm okay.
Is everyone okay with 9 o'clock next week? 9 to 9:30, we're going to talk about Agile. Everybody's going to have 2 minutes to explain Agile. And then STLC. STLC, we're going to, once we complete this, then we're going to jump into doing a project. And project is nothing but what are you going to be doing when you go to work? Actual work, actual physical work. You're going to be doing exactly what are you supposed to be doing at work. So when you get out of this course, you know ins and out of it. Nobody can say in the interview, "Do you know this?" and you don't have an answer. It should not be the case. So that's why we're gonna do this. So please, uh, agile recap, agile, do STLC. Let's do next week is gonna be a long class, guys. 9 o'clock we're starting. We're gonna do this until 9:30. Then we're gonna talk about test plan. We're gonna create a test plan. Then we're gonna start interviewing Shamim. So it's a long class. So good luck everybody for next week. And Tahmid, are you in the class?
Yes, I'm here.
Tahmid, I wanted to ask you. Oh, Chipu started working. I don't want to bother you, but I wanted to ask you and Rajubai. Like Rajubai is still not clear about the sequel. Are you able to do the sequel course? Rajubai is
Yeah,
going to be there to help you.
yeah, I can do the sequel course, but can when are we gonna do it? Just I need a 1 month time because right now just a little bit. My family came from Bangladesh and I'm a little busy, but I need to just go through them again and then I can do that lesson.
No, you have more than a month. I think STLC would take us there, and then we have to do a we have
Yeah,
to
then
do.
I can do it. It's fine. If I have a month, that would be great.
Okay, because we have the guideline from last class, right? What are the things needs
Yes.
to be covered? Okay, we'll talk about that when we get there. Guys, do we have any questions?